The third idea, Jonna was just so good at this last night. I just so loved her talk and her film. And that was, the idea is the exceptional cancer patients were truly able to love themselves. That self-care and self-love are the starting point. That is the foundation for you to be able to extend your love and compassion and help out to others, is to take care of yourself. And I saw that as an image in a cancer support group several years ago. A woman with breast cancer stood up and said, every day I visualize that I have a cup within my chest. And I visualize that I'm pouring in the love, or the light of loving kindness. So she's visualizing pouring in the light of loving kindness. It's pouring in and it's filling up her body. She's pouring in more and it's filling up her emotions and her psyche. Pouring in more and supporting her spirit. She says, only at that point in time does the cup overfloweth. Only after I filled myself up first can I make a difference to others. So the three, many more aspects of what Bernie talked about, but those were the ideas of healing that I want to talk to you about from his book from over 20 years ago. And so I'm trying to present the integrated approach to a cancer diagnosis, meaning getting the best care from the medical system and then complementing or integrating or combining with everything else you can do at levels of body, mind, and spirit. And so much of what Natasha has talked about today. But I want to try to take it to the next step of what you can do to empower yourself. So it's some of the same information, but with maybe a slightly different view on it. So if you're going to, and I'm not going to talk about the medical system because that's about an hour-long talk as to how you can empower yourself that way, how to advocate for yourself. The levels of body, mind, and spirit. At the level of the body, what's the one thing, in fact, there's probably one and two, what's the one thing you can do to really improve your health, to really make a difference? The most concrete thing, the one thing I want you to remember walking away from your talk in terms of empowerment. It's this: exercise, exercise, exercise. Exercise changes your physiology. What Natasha's talking about is epigenetics, influencing the cells by changing the soup around the cells. And exercise will increase your energy, increases your blood flow, allows you to think more clearly, you get a better night's sleep, changes the hormones within your brain. People who are depressed, other than taking a pill, exercise is the best way to change the chemicals there. So that's the information. And I can talk about the science that shows it improves survival rates in women affected by breast cancer as well. But let's look at the why. Let's look at, how do I love my body so much? How do you look at this body that you've been given, like Jonna said last night, that you see this as a sacred thing, that you see that it's the vehicle that allows you to walk into the world, allows you to give a hug, allows you to receive a hug, to extend a hand. And so we want to look at our body and say, what is my body telling me? What works for me? How does exercise work for me? In what way? I gave a talk in Saskatchewan a few years ago, and then I came back, 2 years later type thing. And a woman came up to me after the talk and said, Dr. Rutledge, I don't really remember much from your talk except for exercise, exercise, exercise. And it's good, I'm glad she remembered something. So, but what she said was she started dragon boating after her first, yeah, baby, go for it. You go, girl. So she noticed that it was the day after dragon boating that she felt really good, right? And so there's the feedback from your body. Do what feels right for you. In the same way that diet is number 2, and it's just a wonderful overview that we've seen this morning in terms of listening to your body. What does your body need? In what circumstances? Because it's a complex process between the multiple food groups in your actual system. So actually listening to your body, loving your body, taking care of your body. And the third factor was maintaining a reasonable weight. And if you could do those 3, that's the 30% kind of risk factor for breast cancer. And if you have cancer cells in your body, you don't want to irritate them further. So those top 3 can actually make a real difference in terms of outcome in the long term. But you'll stop thinking about diet, I have to follow a specific diet, when you can say to yourself, I love this body, I want to take care of this body. So it's not as much of a temptation to go after something that's sugary when you know that taking care of yourself will make a difference in how you feel and how you can experience your life. 4 is sleep, right? Get a good night's sleep. There's a certain chemical called melatonin that's released into the blood in a good night's sleep, and even 90 seconds of bright light can suppress the melatonin in your body. And they've done experiments where they've actually injected blood from women who've had a good night's sleep and not a good night's sleep, and actually the women have melatonin in their blood. It can suppress breast cancer cells in the rats. So, and I don't want to kind of minimize it because it's kind of so complicated. And so that's the 4th pillar. 5th pillar is relaxation, practicing a relaxation technique. In fact, the Globe and Mail front page article right now talking about stress. And stress increases cortisol, adds to weight, causes inflammation. There's a whole number of negative factors that go along with the stress reaction. And it's something that you can practice. In fact, that's where the workshop is afterwards. You practice it. It makes a difference in your life. Your brain, no matter what age you have, will continue to grow and adapt. In fact, from a couple of years ago, I learned that we actually set down new brain cells in addition to creating new pathways. And so either you can practice being stressed and upset and flood your body with those chemicals, and your brain in some area will get very good at setting down that pathway so you can keep on doing it. And so you can kind of live in this state and feel upset all the time. Or you can practice relaxation, and the different part of your brain will grow and change, and the physiology will follow you into the day. And so the stress pathways start to diminish, the relaxation pathways get stronger and stronger with time. And because you're so young and you have so many years to go, I really highly recommend practicing a relaxation technique. So that's the kind of the 5 pillars, and I've got all of about 3 minutes to go. The 5 pillars is exercise, is what you can do in the body. What you can do in the mind, I could talk for half an hour as well, but I just want to talk about, maybe to finish off, talking about spirit, talking about the fact that you can nurture your spiritual life in a way that's just right for you. And I'm not here to preach at all, but I do want to kind of share with you that there's something more than what we perceive, something that's beyond the physical here, and that we can tap into it and nurture it. And when we relax ourselves, when we take care of ourselves, when we view life as sacred, we begin to pay attention to that something that's very profound and deep and that can help guide us in our journey. And I want to read a very short couple pages from the book here, talking about the spiritual life. And it's a story that's very close to my heart right now. It's a story about my grandmother. My grandmother was in a nursing home that my mother is currently in, and my mom is actually very, very sick with a brain tumor diagnosis. My mom volunteered for about 5 years at this manor while my grandmother was there. And every chapter of the teaching part of this book has a quote, and the quote here is, "The soul force is indestructible, and it goes on gaining power until it transforms everyone it touches." Mahatma Gandhi. On the eve of my grandmother's 110th birthday, I got a call from her nursing home that she was having chest pain. Yes, I didn't stutter there, it's 110. I was worried that she was having a heart attack and wouldn't make it to the big celebration that was being organized for the next day. That would be a shame, because my grandmother was an amazing woman in many ways. She lived in her own apartment till 107, composed poetry up until her final months, and was an exceptional conversationalist with her many visitors. At 109, she pledged herself that if she made 110, she'd dance on the tables. I rushed over to the manor. Unfortunately, she got more arthritis and was quite sick, but anyways, I rushed over to the manor to see how sick she was. When I got to her floor, I could hear the sounds of a lively violin coming from her room. 3 of her great-grandchildren, who were excellent musicians, were serenading her with songs both lively and poignant. Forgetting about the symptoms of her chest pains, which had brought me there, I sat back and listened. The lyrics of one soft song started with, "The birds have flown away." Listening to their beautiful harmony of their young voices, I began to quietly cry, realizing that this would be one of my last memories I'd have of this extraordinary woman. Grandma lay in her bed with a smile as broad as her face. As a doctor, I could see that her body was very weak and she would not live much longer, but there she was, looking so happy, at peace, and absorbing every moment to the fullest. And more than that, there seemed to be a glow emanating from her that lit the room with warmth and joy. I've experienced that same feeling at the bedside of many people who have released themselves into something so deep and mysterious that their inner light was obvious to everyone. Whenever this has happened, I've walked away from a simple conversation lighter on my feet and with a feeling that my heart has been stretched open. When we slow down and are mindful of the true beauty of life, we can become more aware of the realm of spirit. It's here all the time, yet so obvious we can overlook it. I am truly grateful to my grandmother and so many of my patients who have lived away, showing me the light of their living spirit as their bodies were fading away. P.S. As it turns out, my grandmother's chest pain resolved that night, and at the party the next day, she conspired with 2 large men to place her wheelchair up on a large wooden table. She had everyone in attendance sing songs to her like, "I'm tired and I want to go home." All the times her legs kicked and jigged in rhythm to the table. So in summary, you can make a difference, but like the hundreds of case reports of people who have gone through spontaneous remission, people who focus on the things they can control, their love, their compassion, seeing the beauty in life, actually seem to facilitate something that's deeper and more profound. And so even though I'd love you to be cured and live extremely long and healthy lives, what I'm going to say is that when you change your question from "how can I live" to "how do I love," then I think you'll be on the right track. So thank you very much. I have to tell this one quick story. Just a second. Thank you very much. Please have a sit. I have to show you my friend Donna, who I treated back in '99, and then she had a recurrence in 2006. And she was in a lot of trouble with the law and drugs, and somehow she got hooked up with a program where they exposed women to different trades. And at one point, when she actually wanted to become a truck driver, and the boss of the company said, "But you look too weak." And Donna, who likes to work out, has got some major tubes on her. Like my son says, "Call the plumber, these pipes are about to burst." Anyway, so she became a truck driver, and there she is right there. And she's as happy as can be in her new job as a truck driver. So there is support. And she's a young woman of 45, so just that quick call.